Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Thank you so much for staying with us. We appreciate it. We got a lot. That's why I'm sorry, a little bit distracted because that's why I was showing me something and whatnot. Tell everybody what you just showed me because I like that. I think that's cute. And the little girl is like super cute.
The little girl in the Cheerios commercial. You know, we seen her last night for part 2 of their commercial. She has a little thing on Facebook. I'm gonna put it back on the front of my page. And she's got the thyroid eye going, the look that she had last night saying, "Oh, really, Dad?" And it says, "All the problems in the world today, and you're mad because my parents don't match?"
Yeah, man. That's what it is. Ain't no hashtag Mark Jack. You know, it's crazy because, you know, I know we mentioned it earlier on, and you know, certainly with it being Black History Month, I don't want to make too much of a statement on interracial dating and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, get in where you fit in. You know, life is too short to be worrying about what other people think about what you're doing. You can have your personal preference, you know, and that's all well and good. But when it comes down to, you know, imposing your, you know, morals and beliefs and all of that kind of stuff on other people, that's where you kind of lose me. And when I watched that commercial, I'll be honest with you, I just didn't see the interracial couple. I mean, I saw it, but I didn't see it. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the first thing that I noticed. What jumped off the screen, one, was how cute the little girl was.
And she is.
And two, how I had seen her before, and I couldn't place where I'd seen her, and how she was giving her daddy the eye. Like, we finna have another baby? Yeah, I'm getting a dog. And this is not open for discussion. Like, you know, it's not. So ain't no half stepping. Deal. Yeah. We get another dog. Ain't no half stepping, Marcus J. All right, I'm looking forward to it. We picked up a couple of new listeners, so we see you out there in social media. We see the lights on in Jersey City, and we see the lights on right here in our hometown of Richmond, Virginia. The lights are on in Mechanicsville, Virginia, as well as in Charlotte, North Carolina, as well as in many places here. All over the country, here on the East Coast mostly. So we appreciate the love. We see you in Indianapolis as well. So we appreciate the love that we get here on Legacy Internet Radio, the flagship show. Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J. After this segment, we will in fact have the cousin of Alex Haley, Miss Beverly Johnson, who the two of them are the great-grandchildren of Chicken George, as seen in the miniseries Roots. So we're looking forward to having that segment. But what I want to do now is I want to have a little fun. We talked about how we were going to share some inventions that were invented by Black people, and these are things that we use every day, but we may not be aware that Black folk invented it. So I'm going to lead it off, and we all have a couple that we're going to kind of talk about, and I'll lead it off. Richard Spikes. Richard Spikes was a Black inventor who patented and developed many inventions, including an improved automatic gear shift. He improved the automatic gear shift. He patented an improved automatic gear shift in 1832. His object was to develop a gear shift where the gears for the various speeds were in constant mesh. Richard Spikes invented a novel clutch mechanism for his gear shift, and he used levers to the gear shifts. Translation: you ain't got to drive stick no more because of Richard Spikes. So the automatic car was invented by Richard Spikes. So think about that.
Thank you, Richard, because I can't drive a stick.
Can you drive a stick, JR?
I can drive a stick, man. I'm lazy, so.
So if you in social media right now you listening, and I see the lights on, I want you to right now, where you are on social media, let us know. Can you drive a stick? And just write down drive a stick, yes, drive a stick, no. Just make sure you put drive a stick, yes, drive a stick, no. And I just want to see how many people out there want to thank Richard Spikes, because, you know, when Henry Ford started making his cars and stuff, for the most part, they were all...
You best give it up.
They was all, you know, I guess they would say manual. You're not supposed to say stick shift. You're supposed to say manual transmission. Well, we're thanking Richard Spikes, because
you will thank Richard tonight.
You thanking Richard Spikes. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. JR, you got one for us?
Yes, I do. Next up, we have a DC native, Charles Drew. Charles Drew is the inventor of what we know as the blood bank. Researched blood plasma and transfusions in New York City. It was during his work at Columbia University where he made his discoveries relating to the preservation of blood. By separating the liquid red blood cells from the near solid plasma and freezing the two separately of each other, he found that blood could be preserved and reconstituted at a later date. Charles Drew's system for storing of blood plasma, which we know as the blood bank, revolutionized the medical profession. Dr. Drew also established the American Red Cross Blood Bank, of which he was the first director, and he organized the world's first blood bank drive, nicknamed Blood for Britain. His official title for the blood drive was medical director of the First Plasma Division for blood transfusion, supplying blood plasma to the British during World War II. The British military used his process extensively during the war, establishing mobile blood banks to aid in the treatment of wounded soldiers at the front lines. So if you have grandparents, great-grandparents who served during that time, may have gotten injuries, you can thank Dr. Charles Drew for his contribution in helping them get them home safe as well.
Very good.
Little trivia on Dr. Charles Drew. For me, he and I share the same birthday, June 3rd. I was born after him, though. But
really?
Yeah, but June 3rd.
You sure?
Well, yeah. I think he was born in, help me out, Jay, 1904.
1904.
Oh, not too long after.
Yeah, and he died in a car accident. Here's another trivia on Dr. Charles Drew. He died in North Carolina, somewhere in the Greensboro area. And the reason why he died, he was in a car accident, and when they found him, because he was a black man, they refused to take him to the local closest hospital. And he ended up waiting to be treated. And when they eventually got him to the black hospital, he was too far injured. And he ended up passing away due to his injuries. He was 46 years old when he died in 1950. That's a little trivia on Dr. Charles Drew, the man who invented blood transfusions and blood banks. And he was such a great doctor and great inventor of all of these wonderful things in the field of medicine. And he couldn't even be saved himself. So that speaks to the South in the 1950s here in the United States. And here that is only, 64 years ago. And, you have a black man in this country that can't be treated from an automobile accident. I mean, really, like, how do you look at someone that's banged up in a car accident?
And look at all of us that need him today.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's just crazy. But you know how Steppin Marcus J. I'm getting a hit from my brother Hakeem. What up, bro?
Hakeem.
Good to see you on here, man. Good to see you back with the show. Hakeem says when he learned how to drive a car, it was a stick shift. And he also believes that the car didn't have power steering either. He said he thinks it was a Nissan. So Hakeem learned how to drive a car that had no power steering and a stick shift. So, dude, I bet you your biceps was strong as hell trying to turn the car and shifting gears or whatnot. That's funny. Whatnot, but keep the comments coming. Ain't no how Steppin with Marcus J. That's why you got one.
I got one we are using still today like the others.
All right.
I have Sarah Breedlove McWilliams Walker.
That name does not sound familiar unless you know her alias, which is
Madam C.J. Walker.
There you go.
In 1905, Sarah Breedlove developed a conditioning treatment for straightening hair. Walker said she had an idea to begin a cosmetic business, but Madam Walker's treatment did not straighten hair. Her treatment was designed to heal scalp disease through frequent shampooing, massaging, and the application of an ointment consisting of petroleum and a medicinal sulfur. Madam Walker did not use a hot comb, which she did not invent in her system, but by no way means did this person employ such methods. In fact, Marcel Gratteau, a Parisian, was using heated metal hair care implements as early as 1872, and hot combs were available in Sears and Bloomingdale catalogs in the 1890s, presumably designed for white women. Before this time, African American women who wanted to dekink their hair had to place it on a flat surface and press it with a flat iron. She invented her hair softener for use with straightening combs, mixing her soaps and ointments in washtubs and kitchen utensils while adapting to existing hairdressing techniques, and modifying curling tools. She added the prefix Madam to her name and took to the road, soon demonstrating her excellent marketing skills to sell her hair products door to door. And the Walker system is an element of systems where shampoos, pomade, hair growers, vigorous brushing, and the application of heated iron combs to the hair. The method transforms stubborn, lusterless hair into shining smoothness.
Wow, ain't no half-step on Marcus J. Madam C.J. Walker, little trivia for her. She is from right here in the Richmond, Virginia area. I believe she is interred here. I'm not sure if she was born here, but I believe that she was buried here. And sisters, we know that we know
Listen,
that y'all.
we all needed it. We all used it.
It's funny. I remember when I was coming up, and Mom's J would literally have the old school hot comb, like literally sitting on the stove with the flame on that joint. That joint would light up the whole house.
My mother would be like, "Sit still, so you can get burned."
Another piece of information on her: she was, one of the first millionaires, female. At all. She was one of the first female millionaires, and she ended up being obviously a sister. And so if there's any trivia for any of these people, I always like to try to throw it out there, and that's just a little piece that I'm aware of with her. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. I've got another one. Frederick McKinley Jones was one of the most prolific black inventors ever. Of course, Frederick Jones patented more than 60 inventions. However, he is best known for inventing an automatic refrigeration system for long-haul trucks in 1935. He was the first person to invent a practical mechanical refrigeration system for trucks and railroad cars, which eliminated the risk of food spoilage during long-distance shipping trips. The system, in turn, adapted to a variety of other common carriers, including ships. Frederick McKinley Jones was granted more than 40 patents in the field of refrigeration. His inspiration for the refrigeration unit was conversation with a truck driver who had lost a shipment of chickens because the trip took so long and the truck's storage compartment failed. Frederick Jones developed an air conditioning unit for military field hospitals and a refrigerator for military field kitchens. And as I stated before, he received over 60 patents in his life. Frederick Jones.
Very nice.
Now here's why that's important. Because we know, even though that this was patented in 1935, here we are, almost, 80 years later, 79 years later, and we still know that the trucking industry in the United States, and my guess is all over the world, is still a primary method to transport goods from coast to coast. And so if you don't have refrigeration to do that, what's the likelihood of them losing all of their product and in turn losing all of their money? So if it wasn't for the brother Frederick McKinley Jones in 1935 creating this refrigeration system, we may not be able to have the kind of transport here in the country that we have.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. That's what's up. JR, you got the last one, man?
Yes.
This one is a good one.
This fella here that we're about to talk about has patents related to solid rocket motors and conversion of nuclear energy into electricity. He pioneered the study of internal ballistics of solid rocket motors using high-speed photography. He was also a producer of documentary films on early black filmmakers. I'm talking about Henry Thomas Sampson, but he's most known for inventing what we know as the modern cellular phone. Born on July. Yeah, you know.
What?
You ain't know it. You
Look at
told
my
it
phone.
in there.
Look at my phone. Oh, and he had
On July 6, 1971, Henry T. Sampson invented the gamma electric cell, which pertains to nuclear reactor use. According to Dr. Sampson, the gamma electric cell, patented July 6, 1971, patent number 3,591,860, produces stable high voltage output and current to detect radiation in the ground. Born in Jackson, Mississippi, he received a Bachelor of Science from Purdue. He received a master's degree in engineering from the University of California. He also received a master's in nuclear engineering from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. The mobile communications that he worked with took a big step forward in 1983 with the invention of cellular system regulating the portable telephones, which use radio waves to transmit and receive audio signals. Before this time, mobile telephone service in the United States, consisting mainly of car phones, was extremely limited because metropolitan areas had only one antenna for these purposes. In addition, the Federal Communications Commission assigned only 12 to 24 frequencies to each area, which meant that only that many calls could occur at that time, which means ain't none of y'all had none of them phones. So you could thank him for that. These limitations often meant a wait of up to 30 minutes for a dial tone and a 5 to 10 year waiting list just to acquire the service. You think them lines is long for Jordans?
Okay.
For the service here that you was getting?
So translation, tell the listeners, what's the brother's
Hey,
name
look,
again?
man. The brother's name is Henry Thomas Sampson.
And what did
the
Henry Thomas Sampson invent?
The cell phone. The reason you are logged on
So
right now, listening to us from your cell phone, plugged into your car radio, riding down the interstate right now, is because of Henry Thomas Sampson.
Lot of coins standing at that freaking payphone talking
That's
about
it.
please deposit 50 cents.
Cut your phone call off. Please deposit an additional 10 cents.
Phone ringing back when you hang up.
I love it. I mean, let's recap. Let's recap. We talked about Richard Spikes, who invented the automatic gear system in the car. We talked about
Charles Drew, the inventor of the blood bank.
We talked about
Madam C.J. Walker.
who invented the
straightening conditioner.
Got them BDBs out the back of y'all head.
We talked about Frederick McKinley Jones, who invented the air conditioning in the trucks and such. And we talked about
Henry Thomas Sampson, the reason you holding an iPhone or an HTC One, whatever your preference.
If you ever in your life question how important you are, if you ever in your life question your self-worth, if you've ever in your life felt inferior because you were a black person in this country, stop.
Check that.
Because many of the important things that you hold in your hand right now, that you have in your household, that you drive, many of the important inventions that were created by us. And I'm not saying that because I want to be disrespectful to any other culture, but the truth of the matter is I'm not concerned with what my neighbor is doing until my house is straight. When my house is straight, I can worry about my neighbors. Yep. My house in this particular analogy is our community, our black community. And so we need to be mindful. We need to teach our children. I got my daughter sitting 2 feet from me, and she's listening to this conversation. And I hope that your children are listening to this conversation, or you're sharing this kind of information with them. Doesn't have to be these people, because trust me, I'm showing them right now.
List,
you can hear the paper. I'm showing them a list, a 2-page list right now, and I just chose a couple. We're gonna be doing this all month, okay? Wow. But I got a 2-page list that I stopped because I didn't have enough room, in the show to do it all.
It is full.
But it's 2 pages of. And just to name a couple, a brother invented the almanac, the baby buggy, the bicycle frame, the lawnmower, the keychain, the mop, the motor, the refrigerator, the horseshoe, ice cream scooper.
Oh my God, I needed it last night.
Let's see.
Saved y'all a whole lot of bent spoons.
Spark plug, stethoscope, street sweeper. I mean, that's just to name a few. And so if you ever question the self-worth of black people in this country, do a quick Google search, because that's all it takes for you to see where we come from. Right. I'm very happy and I'm very proud. We just played this song a few minutes ago. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. And so as this being Black History Month, I'm definitely happy and excited. I got my baby girl here, and she's jamming. She heard this song and she knew it was Jane Brown. I ain't even had to tell her. And you know how to step with Marcus J. All right. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, I am very happy and very proud to reintroduce to some and introduce to others. We've got the cousin of Alex Haley, and they are the great-great-grandchildren of Chick and George as seen in the movie Roots. So hang in there, take this break, and when we come back, we have that interview. Marcus J with JR, SY, social media, and Mama J. We'll be back in a few minutes.